867-0303. The weather can be unpredictable, and I'm ready to get more life out of your roof with our award-winning Owens Corning repair team. We're the repair guys the other repair guys call when they can't find the problem. Leaks become black mold when ignored. That's why when you call me, I start my inspection in the attic. Is it time for a beautiful new roof? 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you an estimate right over the phone. The best warranty in the business, including a warranty against ice dams. The only roofer in Memphis to offer a warranty against water intrusion due to snow buildup. Ask about military and first responder discounts. 901-867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg. East Memphis Steaks. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill. All with a lifetime warranty. Ready to cook in only 15 minutes with cook temperatures from below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between. Change your at-home cooking experience for life with our unmatched wood-fired grill flavor that has our customers raving. Get more Big Green Egg and all our accessories at East Memphis Ace on the corner of Southlight Station and Quince Road.
Come celebrate Father's Day this year at Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf. Unlock your ultimate wedge play with Vokey SM10 wedges. Made for lower flight, improved feel, and maximum spin. And from Bushnell, the new Tour V6 Series laser rangefinders provide you the most accurate distances in golf. Now $50 off. Shop with us for Father's Day in store or online. Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf. Get there.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Genuine diamonds, baby.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Woj now reporting that J.J. Redick will interview for the Lakers head coaching job this weekend. Sham's response... No, it's just turned out that way, right? Danny Hurley said thanks, but no thanks. Redick will get the interview. Very interesting with the Lakers. Just Danny Hurley with no prior NBA head coaching experience, but all kinds of success at the collegiate level, including back-to-back national championships. Now J.J. Redick, broadcaster, former terrific sharpshooter in the NBA, and podcaster with one LeBron James, but no coaching experience. None. Zippo. But that's who they'll interview this weekend. I got to think, if there's an offer on the table, J.J. Redick is taking it.
Yeah, if they offer him a job, if he wants to get into coaching. Like,
why would you say no?
It'd be dumb to turn down the Lakers. And especially when, again, you got a pretty good relationship with LeBron.
It's hard to fail the interview. You're in a situation like this. I mean, you're going to go in there and you're going to crush it, and more than likely they're going to offer, and then you're going to have a new Lakers coach. Because the draft is 2 weeks from today. You want a coach. Now, obviously, the general manager and Rob Pelinka is in place, so you have the guy who's making the ultimate decision, along with, I don't know how much Jeannie Buss is involved in wanting to be part of the decision-making. Sure, she's a part somewhat, but Pelinka's the one making the deals and making the moves. So that's not pivotal that the head coach is there, but you want him there. And that will probably happen by early next week. At the U.S. Open, Brooks Koepka, ever heard of that guy? 2 under through 7, has a one-shot lead. Tiger Woods, who birdied the first hole he played, he started on the back 9, has subsequently bogeyed a couple of holes back-to-back, and he has dropped to 1 over. Some other players right now, one off the pace of Koepka, include Sergio Garcia, Colin Morikawa, who many people have said if anybody could slay Schauffele, it's Schauffele or Morikawa. Tony Finau at 1 under. Ludwig Oberg, who many believe will win a major sooner than later, he's at 1 under par. Logan McAllister, who had it to 2 under, is now back to even. And then you have some dudes you've never heard of, including Tim Whiting. And I'm going Silent J here, Ketrup. Frederick Ketrup, that's my guess. Amateur make that Neil Shipley at 1 under par. Will Zalatoris is even. Patrick Cantlay is even. Ricky Fowler is even. Webb Simpson is even. This first-round action continues.
The conditions look to be perfect. Doesn't look like there's really any wind or anything. It looks like it's perfect conditions. It's just however, a really, 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 really hard golf course.
It is. Just ask Cameron Smith, who's 2 over. Justin Thomas, who's 2 over. Dustin Johnson, who is 2 over par. Justin Rose is 3 over par. Sam Burns is 5 over through 8. Phil Mickelson is 5 over through 6. Sahith Theegala is 5 over through 5. Not a good start.
There were a lot of people that liked Theegala, and I just, this is he played well, obviously, at the PGA, and he's been playing well. But man, that's a tough ask for him to step into this on this golf course with as little experience as he has, and be competing for a U.S. Open championship. And I just don't know. And I don't know where I have to look at his, but I don't think of Theegala's short game as being what you need on this golf course.
I agree.
Like to me. I just looked at scrambling stats and putting stats. Like that's because it's going to take some magic around the greens on this golf course for guys, and you're going to have to make putts. That's a lot of people like. Not maybe necessarily to win, but to be up there. Denny McCarthy, because he's the best putter on tour. He's an unbelievable putter. And, Tiger early in his round had to make a couple of 15-foot par putts. Like, you're going to have some of those. That's just it's just going to be a part of this weekend. You're going to have, again, ball rolling off greens. You're going to have to be able to chip and putt all weekend long. And so your short game better be really, really good if you want to compete at Pinehurst.
Yeah, I think he is a guy on the rise, certainly, but I don't think this week's his week. I could be wrong, but that would be my guess.
Well, at 5 over, I'm going to guess it probably won't be.
Well, I meant going into it.
At 5 over, he's going to take one hell of a turnaround at this point. That is for sure. But yeah, I mean, Brooks Koepka, when the going gets tough, when you get into tough golf courses, things like that. And Koepka seems to win when, like, in some of these, like, he'll pop when nobody is expecting it because he hasn't been playing well. Like, going into the Masters, everything else, even the PGA, like, everybody's all over Brooks Koepka. And now he'll probably win the U.S. Open when nobody was really thinking about Brooks Koepka.
Well, last night I was going to make a play, and I decided not to. I wanted to see how things started. And obviously the odds would go down if one of the guys I liked got off to a good start. I watched the PGA Tour last week and Scheffler winning at the Memorial, but I also watched the Live. And Koepka got off to a bad start, but then and he didn't win it. It was, I forget who won. But anyway, Carlos Ortiz, I think he's the one who won. But it was Sunday's final round, and he went really low, Koepka. And I said to myself right there, he's getting ready for the Open. I didn't think about at the moment that he would be my pick, but last night I thought if I'm going to throw some money down, I'm throwing it on Koepka, Morikawa. I'm going to throw Schauffele out of it, even though he just won the PGA, which is probably foolish because he'll be there. He's got that cut streak going too, which is incredible, 50 in a row. And then, of course, Scheffler. But you're not going to win money on Scheffler. You're not going to win serious money on Scheffler. So Koepka and Morikawa were the guys I was going to lay money down. Today I may do so, but if Koepka gets off to a great start, his numbers are going to go down. You remember what he started at?
I do not know what Koepka was at.
I want to say
before.
it was pretty high. It was good money.
Moving can be stressful, but when you get the professionals from Black Tie Moving to do that move for you, to help you with your move, well, that'll take a lot of that stress out of it, a lot of the worry out of the process. You know your stuff's getting where it's going without any problems, without any issues with Black Tie Moving. All you need to do, simply pick up your phone, 901-316-6196, 901-316-6196, or you can go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis. Get your personal, no obligation quote from the folks at Black Tie Moving. They'll talk with you, come up with that plan, what you need from them. Maybe you just need them to pick up your stuff and drop it off. Maybe you want them to pack it and unpack it. Maybe you need some storage. Whatever it is that you need for your move, well, that's what you're going to figure out, what that plan is that fits those needs and fits your budget as well. And the folks at Black Tie Moving will then take care of it for you. Again, 901-316-6196, or you can go to the website, blacktiemoving.com/Memphis. Get the experts. Don't try and do it yourself. Talk to the experts from Black Tie Moving.
Scheffler is such a favorite that the odds go up on just about everybody else. And when you're talking about Brooks Koepka going into the event, plus 2,000. We'll take a quick time out. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the big TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $3.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com. Cork and Barrel in Hernando, Mississippi, a southern gem for over 15 years. Check out their bigger, better, bolder new location, 2595 McInvale Road, Hernando. Huge selection, incredible pricing. Choose from hundreds of bourbons, tequilas, rum, scotch, and vodka. Over 1,000 wines from fine to very simple picnic wines. At Cork and Barrel, it's all about serving you. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 10, where the fun begins and the liquor and wine never end. Cork and Barrel, 2595 McInvale Road, I-55, Hernando, exit 280.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Hi, folks. The Chevy Sheriff in Collierville with good news for car and truck buyers. Sunrise Chevy has over 500 Chevys available with 9 models that get 30 miles per gallon. GM rebates up to $5,000, and Sunrise discounts high as $10,000. Bad credit? It's okay. You're approved at Sunrise. Immediate financing, top trading, and a $3 million used car inventory, specializing in cars and trucks under $20,000. Remember, you can bring your Chevy to Sunrise for service no matter where you bought it. There's always a sale at the Sunrise Chevy Ranch, 385 in Houston Levy. Together, let's drive.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Still a couple of wrecks in their clearing stages out here. It remains a little bit crowded over here at times with some volume on 240 east and westbound between Poplar and Walnut Grove. It's increasing with a little bit more volume now. 40 east across the Hernando de Soto Bridge. A lot more traffic flow throughout the day here on the I-40 bridge because of the 55 bridge remains closed. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry right here in Memphis specializes in bridal ring purchases they have since 1984. Check them out today at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 95 This hour brought to you by James Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:03 the time. Hour number 3 here on Sports 56 Mornings, the Thursday, June 13th, 2024 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd coming at you from the Family Leisure Studios. Currently 70 degrees, on the way up to 90 today. Bright sunshine. Tonight, 68 for a low, clear skies. The humidity starts to roll in today. And then tomorrow we're looking at 95 degrees for a high temperature. We're going to continue to talk about the legacy of Jerry West and obviously his time in Memphis with Andy Dolich in just a few moments. Then Tony Baroni Jr. Do want to tell you folks about Jenkins Floors and More, third hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings. Family owned and operated by Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins. Just good people. They started this business 8 years ago in their garage in Cleveland, Mississippi. And yes, they must be doing some things right. They got the store in Cleveland. They have a store in Little Rock, and now they have a new warehouse in Horn Lake, 2356 Goodman Road. They've moved from Hernando to Horn Lake. They're closer to the metropolitan Memphis area. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, SPC and WPC vinyls. These are scratch-resistant, waterproof, top-of-the-line, plus ceramic and porcelain tiles. If you're looking for hardwoods, they got them by Portercraft. If you're looking for carpeting, Southern Luxury Carpet, backsplashes for your kitchens and bathrooms, plantation shutters and blinds, and so much more. They sell it wholesale, skip the middleman, save you lots of money in the process. And why is this so successful? Because of the quality of work they do, their attention to detail, and their pricing. That's why they've earned their reputation of being one of the top flooring companies in the area. So residential and commercial use, homeowners, contractors, do yourself a favor, see what Jenkins Floors and More has to offer. They will install and do so with an unheard of 2-week turnaround. Financing is available, so stop by or call them at 662-469-9350. They're open Monday through Saturday. Military and first responders get 10% off. Sports 56 listeners ask about the family discount. These are great people, great company, Jenkins Floors and More. We continue to talk about the legacy of one Jerry West. When Jerry West was brought in, he was the president of basketball operations. And he worked alongside the president of business operations. And that is our special guest now, a good friend, a longtime friend from years ago, Andy Dolich, who is really doing well with Dolich and Associates. It's a sports consultancy. He's out on the West Coast, and Andy joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Andy, first of all, it's great to talk to you yesterday. It's great to have you on the show. I know it has been a long, long time. Unfortunately, we're brought together again because of the sad news, but thank you so much for joining us.
Greg and Eli, it's great to be with you, and it's always great to be able to talk to my friends in Memphis. Is one of the best times of our family's life when we were there building the Grizzlies, and I always sort of pinch myself going like, wait a second, you were the president of business and a guy named Jerry West, who's the logo of the NBA. And my friend said, well, what are you the logo of? Like, I'm not the logo of anything. And it just goes to show that if you have dreams, you can become anything. And that kid from Chelan, West Virginia, and Jerry never liked the Zeke from Cabin Creek. That was something you never said to Jerry because he was born in Chelan. And you think about it, he became one of the most famous people from West Virginia ever. And then he goes on this 42-year stint in L.A. where he did everything. Then he comes to Memphis and helps launch and build and do great work with the franchise. Then he becomes an advisor to the Warriors. They only win multiple NBA championships. Then he goes to the Clippers. I mean, clearly this is a sad time, but I'm looking at a cover of Sports Business Journal, and Jerry was named a champion, the champion, in 2023. And the front cover says the icon. Through every step of his NBA career as a player, executive, and consultant, Jerry West has illustrated and defined success. I was searching through all of my stuff yesterday, and I came upon this. And here's Jerry with a gigantic smile on his face and that iconic move that became the logo. And I see, holy cow, written in black ink to my great friend Andy. We shared the greatest time of my life in Memphis.
Wow.
You made my life easy every day. Sincerely, Jerry West. How about that?
That's
incredible.
That's cool. That's cool to have something like that. Along that line and making life easier, when he was brought in and really, I mean, it gave validity to the Grizzlies franchise. Like, what did that mean for the business side of things to now have this guy at the top of the franchise on the basketball side?
You know, when you, I don't know, get something official and somebody puts a stamp on it,
yeah.
You know, the ink stamp, boom. So my view was the logo stamp on the franchise helped legitimize everything we were doing. It was the Jerry West Good Housekeeping NBA seal of approval.
Were you, Andy, when you were here in Memphis, trying to build this franchise from a business standpoint, bring in corporate sponsorships and do everything you need, obviously get the people here in Memphis to buy into the NBA and to go to the games, and then Jerry's building the team. Did you, obviously you worked in the same building and you were in the same area, but did you guys work together a lot?
No, I wouldn't say we did, but as ironic as it might sound, we had teamwork, leadership, and trust. From Michael Heisley to Jerry. Oh, we had this coach named Hubie Brown. Remember him? Shane Battier, Pau Gasol, Jason White Chocolate Williams. We just had, a great group of people that had their eye on building the franchise. And what was most important is, and I give total credit to the Pursuit Group. I mean, the Hyde family and Gail Rose and Henry Turley, the great Henry Turley, Dan Conaway, who helped us build our advertising campaign. There were just so many people in the market. Some scribbler named Jeff Calkins, you probably remember him, and you guys. And it was a family. And when you think about Jerry West is leaving the Lakers to come to Memphis from the Pacific Ocean to the Big Muddy, how's that going to work out? And what people forgot and what Mike Heisley absolutely focused on when he convinced Jerry to come was that Jerry was really more country than cosmopolitan, even though he's the coolest looking person that I ever worked with in my life in every way, shape, or form. But he connected, and when he'd be out and about, there was no security guards. It was just chatting with Jerry, and that, I think, is what I learned most about Memphis, is that it is an open town. The team had so much to do with opening up the diversity aspect as FedEx Forum was built. And to me, it's one of the highlights of my life. And I know, as Jerry said, he loved his time there.
So what the first time you meet him as he comes in and now he's going to be working in that building with you, like what's in your head at first, and then what's it like when you actually start talking to him for that first time?
That is a question that you should ask of everybody, because they go, wait a second, how many people do you know that are the logo of a global entity? And what the thought bubble was in my head, because I had not met Jerry before. He was always on the player personnel side. I was always on the business side. And I grew up as a fanatical Knick fan with the great teams of Clyde Frazier, Earl DePearl, Bill Bradley, Willis Reed. And who was public enemy number one? Yep, you got it, Jerry West. So I'm going, like, do I lay that one on him? No, that's probably not a good intro. So I kept that to myself for a while. We ultimately talked about it. But it was just the fact that he understood what we were trying to build, again, with leading entities in Memphis, the media, the faith-based community, everybody. Whether it was Michael Heisley saying, I got to go to Neely's barbecue. There was just so many quality people. I mean, the Cates brothers and others, I could go on. And Jerry interacted with everybody as if they were, friends, which they were.
Former Grizzlies president of business operations, Andy Dolich, joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines. Yeah, I told the story where I had already been in the broadcasting business nearly 20 years, and Jerry comes in, and I remember we had our sit-down interview in his office for TV when I was doing local television, and I had already interviewed a lot of big names, but I was kind of starstruck. I mean, I held my own, but I was a little starstruck that this is, like you said, this is the logo. This is Jerry West, and I think everybody in the city felt that way as well. Out of all the places he could have gone, he comes to Memphis. It was just a great moment, and then he stayed for 5 years, and they had success. Hubie Brown winning Coach of the Year, the 50-win season. But I don't know, I think in the end, no success really in the postseason. Do you think? I don't know if you ever had a chance to talk to Jerry, just why he decided to move back and go back to the West Coast and do his thing out there, as opposed to staying and trying to gut it out with this organization here.
Well, my take, guys, was it wasn't Jerry saying, "Hey, got to go." Mike Heisley, is a very successful global business person. How many other owners do you know? Hey, I think I'll sing the national anthem. Yeah, okay, great, Mike. Can you sing? And he could. And I go back to Vancouver, where Mike sang "Oh Canada," right? So Mike was not afraid of any circumstance. And after those great years, and you brought up a point, like you say, how many teams had Coach of the Year and Executive of the Year in the same year on the same team? And you go like, oh, yeah, I think, right, 2004 in Memphis. No, I don't remember that. Yeah, well, it happened.
Right.
So Mike decided it was time to remodel the Grizzlies. We had good success, but we didn't get as far as he wanted us to get. And it was more Mike deciding, hey, I'm going to make some changes and talk to Jerry and I stayed another year, I think, and got the benefit of doing some bass fishing and hitting golf balls at the estate that Heisley bought for Jerry at Southwind, because I had the gate key. Little known story. Keep it amongst us, all right? Don't tell anybody. But it was time to turn the page, and that's what Jerry did. And, his novel of basketball is one of the greatest of all times. Did it at every single level you can imagine. And I remember that Heisley goes, I'm going to give Jerry a going away present, and I'm starting to think I'm going too. Wow, what will I get? So Heisley was a car guy, and he buys Jerry a $250,000 Maybach I'm not a gearhead, but I think it's like the most expensive Mercedes-Benz you can buy.
Jeez.
And he goes, we got to keep this a secret. And after the game, he brings Jerry, and I was with him, and a few other people, Dana Davis, and there's the car. And it's like, holy crap. And he goes, Jerry, here are the keys. And Jerry spends about 5 seconds looking at him and goes, no, that's okay, thanks. I don't need it. Literally, Dana had to drive the car back to Chicago where Mike bought it. And I've heard 2 stories. I've heard the car magically at some period of time, several weeks later, ended up in Jerry's garage in California, or he never saw it again. But in that moment, he goes, no, thanks, that's okay, appreciate it. And I don't know too many people that know that story.
That is
But you do.
We do now.
That is great stuff right there. The going back to you mentioned with obviously the executive year, coach of the year, when the decision is made and you guys are, when you heard the name Hugh B. Brown, who hadn't been a head coach for a long, long time in the NBA, like what was your reaction as the president of business operations when you start hearing like, wait, Hugh B. Brown? That's who we're going to hire?
First of all, like how would that play in Memphis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is from this part of the country? Is he speak Memphibian? All of that kind of stuff. And, I had a question mark, but those question marks to me evaporated quickly because Jerry West is thinking about this. Jerry West wants to do this.
Right.
And how could that possibly be wrong? I also worked for the Warriors, short period of time. We never worked together. But one of the pieces that I'll always remember is there was a kid named Klay Thompson, and he was off to not a very good start with the Warriors. And Jerry was an advisor to team owner Joe Lacob. And Joe Lacob and Steve Kerr at that time, I think, said, we got to move Klay. Or we got to trade him. And Jerry went, excuse me? And Lacob, who really early on took the position like, I really know basketball. And Jerry said, let me tell you something. I go back with Michael Thompson. Jerry scouts players, 24 hours a day. And he goes, if you do that, I'm out of here. Wow. And I will tell people why I'm out of here. And that was the specific reason that they didn't make the move. And I think Klay Thompson turned out to be a fairly decent NBA player.
I think so.
He was
that was the kind of just otherworldly basketball intelligence that he had. And when he had a concept or an idea, there wasn't anything you were going to do to basically change his mind. And I'm glad that people can't, because almost every decision he made was the right decision. Oh, there's this kid in Lower Merion High School and outside of Philly. What's his name? Oh, yeah, Bryant, yeah. I know his dad, Jelly Bean, so I've seen the kid play since he was, in junior high school. Yeah, he's going to be great. We'll take him.
Yeah, his ability to evaluate talent was nearly second to none. And then you think about what he did putting these teams together, these franchises, was a coach for a while, was one of the greatest players of all time. How can you encapsulate in a sentence or two, Andy, of what his legacy is as we get ready to kind of wrap it up with you? The legacy of Jerry West, according to Andy Dolich, is...
There's a famous quote that I like about the great artist Michelangelo. We know him as Mike Angelo, right? And and he crafted the greatest statue in the history of the world, David. And somebody said, yo, Mike, how'd you do this? I don't think they exactly put it that way. And he said, David was inside the stone, I just chipped away all the pieces that weren't David. And to me, when I think of that quote, I think of Jerry both as David and also as Michelangelo.
Wow. It's deep, but it's right on. Makes a lot of sense to me.
By the way, what's it like for you now to see the Grizzlies? Now this past year was a little bit weird because of the injuries, but the success they've been having and everything else, and after knowing you were here to get it all started.
I'm one of the few people that walk around the Silicon Valley where I live with Grizzlies gear, and people going, "What? Huh? Who are you? What is that?" And yesterday, to a bunch of coffee clowns that I meet occasionally, I brought that cover with me, and they go like, "No, you made that up." So it is just such joy. And then, unfortunately, there's been some issues with Ja, and hopefully those will be in history, and he'll be back being the most exciting young player in the league. So, I love it. I get back to Memphis at least once a year to visit with friends, and I'm as proud of that time of my life as anything that I've ever done.
That's fantastic. Andy, thank you so much. It was great catching up with you. Thank you for sharing your stories about Jerry West. Really appreciate it.
Gentlemen, thank you, and say hi to all my friends in Memphis.
Absolutely. We'll do. Thank you, Andy. Good stuff, as always. Great to hear from Andy. Some of the folks that were there with Andy and Jerry and getting this organization off and rolling in Memphis are no longer with us. He was talking about Dana Davis, who we lost a while ago, but great to hear these stories.
But it doesn't surprise me. But could you imagine buying somebody $250,000 car and they go, "Yeah, no, I don't. You missed. I don't want it."
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is even if you didn't want it, you accept it because Michael Heisley's gone out of his way to do that for you, right?
Now when you're Jerry West, right now.
Again, yeah, Jerry West, whatever floated his boat.
I'm good. I'm good with what I got.
Well, it was a Mercedes-Benz that he talked about, Andy talked about, and I'm not talking about a Mercedes-Benz here. I'm talking about some of the great Chevrolets that they have out there right now available, and they're all available at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Together, let's drive into summer in what we really want to drive in, where all the new Silverados are. Some mark 12% off invoice. That's one sweet buyer's market. Financing as low as 1.9%. No payments for 90 days on the new Silverados, the Trailblazers, the Equinox, and much more. Nothing beats family trips in a beautiful new Tahoe. You get an extra $500 bonus if you're a college student, graduate, military, first responder, healthcare worker, teacher. Again, $500 bonus if you purchase your vehicle from All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. No matter what pre-owned you're looking for, you can find it in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevy's All-American Pre-Owned Sale. All the Jeeps, the Ram trucks, even a Ram ProMaster cargo van, 4Runners, and so much more. At All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, you can test drive them all. Bring All-Star any vehicle you want to sell. Get it checked today. Everyone at All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch wishes you a very happy and safe 4th of July. We're just a couple of weeks away as we celebrate our country's Independence Day. Don't miss All-Star Chevy's All-American Sale in Olive Branch. AllStarAutoGroup.com on the web. This is Sports 56 Mornings. When we come back, more on Jerry West with Tony Baroni Jr. right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
About insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place: the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
Whether it's expanding your business, upgrading your equipment, or covering payroll, you can score big with SwishFunding.com, the slam dunk solution for your business funding needs. If you have at least $25,000 in monthly revenue and been in business for at least 1 year, qualifying's easier than a layup. We fund up to $5 million in 24 hours. Go to SwishRadio.com. That's SWISH radio.com. SwishRadio.com.
Make your next grill your last with a big green egg. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Save money on fuel, eating out, and replacing expensive grills that cannot match the flavor of the big green egg. Ready to cook in only 10 to 15 minutes with temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between with ease. Change your at-home cooking experience for life. Go to shop.biggreenegg.com.
Free is key during Craftsman Days at Lowe's. Right now, get one free Select V20 tool when you buy a Select Battery 2-pack. Plus, get your choice of a V20 drill or impact driver kit for $69. Don't miss your chance to save on the high-quality, high-performance tools you need during Craftsman Days. Because Lowe's knows tools. Lowe's knows home improvement. $1 through $6.19. While supplies last. Selection varies by location.
It's silly season in the life of your roof. I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. The weather can be unpredictable, and I'm ready to get more life out of your roof with our award-winning Owens Corning repair team. We're the repair guys the other repair guys call when they can't find the problem. Leaks become black mold when ignored. That's why when you call me, I start my inspection in the attic. Is it time for a beautiful new roof? 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you an estimate right over the phone. The best warranty in the business, including a warranty against ice dams. The only roofer in Memphis to offer a warranty against water intrusion due to snow buildup. Ask about military and first responder discounts. 901-867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com. Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:30 the time. Final half hour for us today here on Sports 56 Mornings. Again, tomorrow, we're back bright and early, starting at 7 a.m. John Varlas will join us as he does every Friday. We'll also talk plenty of Ole Miss tomorrow. Keith Carter, athletics director, will join us, and star basketball player Matthew Morrell. We'll have 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. Today, we have focused an awful lot, and understandably so, on the legacy of Jerry West, who passed away yesterday. That story broke during our show. It's great to have Ron Tillery on earlier, Andy Dolich a moment ago, and now pleased to be joined by an old friend of ours, former Grizzlies director of scouting, Tony Baroni Jr., who's now with the NCAA. He's the assistant director of basketball development and enforcement for the NCAA. And Tony joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Hey, Tony, how are you, man?
Man, it's been a while. Love hearing you guys. It's great.
It is nice to have you on. Nice to hear your voice again. And, of course, not only with your relationship with Jerry, but, of course, your father, who was certainly very close with Jerry and became the interim head coach at one point when Mike Fratello was let go. But right off the bat, Tony, the news you hear yesterday, obviously Jerry was 86. It's a little bit different, I think, when people pass when they're 30, God forbid, right? But this is a guy who lived a long, fruitful life. But it's still startling when you hear the news. What were your initial thoughts?
Oh, man, I was sad for his family right away because I know Johnny and Ryan real well through this business, and his wife Karen my mother had passed, and Karen was instrumental in just being just from afar, just being simply supportive. It's just says a lot about them as people. So I thought of them right away, and of course he was a great dude, man. He did so. I owe him so much. just in terms of professionally, when I tell people when the cliches become reality, it's true. Like, he says he would do stuff for you, but he really did. He did so much for me, and he really cared about everybody he worked with.
That for a guy like you, in that business, scouting, everything else, like what was it like? What did it mean to you to be able to have a guy to be able to learn under a guy like Jerry West, who's one of the best, if not the best, to ever do it?
Well, it was so overwhelming the first time he came in because he's the logo and everybody, the whole deal. I called him Mr. West, and he got mad first off because he's like, I am not Mr. West. I'm like, oh man, but you're not going to take the chance to call him Jerry and have him say, hey, call me Mr. West. So he was great though, because he's like, we would all get worked up and listen, I have no problem with numbers and analytics, and I know that's a trend. I think it'll swing back occasionally. There's ebbs and flows and all that stuff. We would walk into the draft room. We never called it a war room because that's not war. It's draft. It's the draft room, and he would say, point at you if you were in the Midwest or the West Coast Scout or the East Coast Scout or as the director scouting, he would say, can he play or not? And you would have to say yes or no. And then you could talk about him. You could talk about everything else you want to talk about. But what you didn't do is say, and Larry Bird, Danny Ainge, from what I've been told, Kevin McHale, a lot of the old school guys were this way. They don't want to hear you say, 28% of the time he goes left, he's unsuccessful with pull-up jumpers. They don't want to hear that because Jerry obviously was one of the best at doing that. So he wanted to know if the kid could play. And I was lucky enough to start shaping my way of seeing players and how I like to view players from his way of looking at it. So he loved length, and I learned with the Drew Gooden trade. Drew came in, heck of a rebounder in college. And again, I have no problem with the coaches did, but probably used him maybe at the 3 spot instead of the 4 where he could really flourish. And he was just a go-get-the-ball guy. So we maybe were misusing him at certain times, but not my call. But when Jerry came in, he was cool, calm, and collected about it. Said, hey, listen, we're going to move him for Mike Miller. Heck of a shooter, blah, blah, blah. All we need are pieces. So he doesn't see it as a miss on a draft pick. Mm-hmm. He wants to have pieces. That was the key to him. He said, we can always take pieces and trade them. And I learned a lot with that process when he approached us with that.
Tony Baroni Jr. joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. How did the dynamic work, Tony, inside that draft room or at any time when you guys were talking about talent? You're the director of scouting, young guy, but obviously have a very important job. Michael Heisley is an owner that was hands-on. There are some owners that certainly just wipe their hands clear of that and they don't bother. But he was a hands-on owner. And then, of course, you have Jerry West. So when it came down to a player that you were going to choose or not choose, how did that work? What was the conversations like? And then the ultimate decision, who was it made by?
He loved the interaction and communication. What I've learned throughout the years is that owners, with my experience, is the owners see things on TV. They see highlights. They see a clip. And they end up liking a guy for right or wrong reasons. It doesn't matter because that's not what their job is. Their job is to be running their billion-dollar company. So we're there to tell them politely and figure out which window to use when it's open. Say, hey, look, this is why I like Kyle Lowry. This is why I like Gravis Vasquez, which was a hard sell with Mike, just because you didn't know him. But we had seen him all year, and we knew that he could be helpful. So that part of it was kind of interesting because Jerry then would come in, and now you're comfortable with him, so you can talk. Gone is the logo. He's working with you. Now you still know who he is because the best part of the draft room that I could tell you is we're working through everything, and we might have the 8th pick or 10th pick, whatever it was. And he'd come in, and he'd always be eating a piece of candy. We have the little Jolly Ranchers here and there, and you're in there for a whole week, so you're just kind of where you live. And he'd pop in, we'd talk about everything, and then he'd come, leave, take a call, come back in. Everything in the league, which, again, I didn't understand this until you saw it, went through Jerry. So he had other GMs and presidents and coaches calling and agents saying, hey, look, I heard we got a promise at this, which you can't have promises. I heard that this trade's going to happen, and he would come in and tell us, because you didn't need a second source, because they were calling him for advice. So they would say, well, the 4th pick is getting traded this year, and so on our board we had an advantage because we would know before something happened, because you usually find out right on the day of the draft, right when it's happening. Jerry would know maybe a day or two before, so we could kind of plan, and we would know a guy would be off the board maybe if we really loved him. Mikhail Petrius was one of them, comes to mind. We've had a good feeling that Paul George and Gordon Hayward would be gone, and we had them all in for workouts, knowing full well it was going to break our fans' hearts because they might be at our pick, but Jerry already knew a day or two ahead, which was awesome because we could learn that way.
So when you're in the room, and he asks you, can this guy play? Like, does he ever, challenge it, or do you start feeling oh gosh, I got to make sure I sell this right to Jerry? It's Jerry West. I have to be correct on this.
Yes, because the problem was Kyle was a good example. Jerry loves length, but that's the one thing he taught me. Another good thing: stick to your guns. If you look, he could get. It's easy to say said than done. You could disagree with you, but if you stuck with it as the Midwest scout or the West Coast scout and said, hey, this is what I think. This is who I like, and I'm sticking with it. And Jerry might be like, well, I disagree. That's okay, because then that's where it really gets going. You can really work things through that way. And it was interesting because Kyle had a bad edit, we call that. We throw it together. We don't call it a highlight reel, whatever. So, again, when Mike Heisley would come in, who was an awesome owner, you'd show him highlights, clips, to kind of show who the kid is. You didn't want it to be a highlight reel, and you didn't want it to suck either. Well, his highlight reel sucked. So he looked awful, but I knew that he had the North Philly attitude, all the intangibles, and I loved it. Wasn't, he's not going to measure out, blah, blah, blah. Well, Jerry said, well, bring him in. And again, that's the power of Jerry. I could call his agent, which is what I was in charge of, and say, hey, Jerry wants to meet with Kyle. Flew him in the next day, came in, we sat in his office and met with Kyle, and that was it. Sold, done. Because as you guys both in your experience know, once you meet Kyle, you're like, okay, this kid's a winner.
Mm-hmm.
Like Al Horford, any of those guys, Mike Conley, you knew they were winners. Shane Battier, you just knew. So when we sat in the room, just us, no agent, just Kyle in his nice jeans and a nice shirt, and we talked for a while, and Jerry was sold on him. And we knew right then that that's who he wanted. Now, did we know he'd be at 27 or wherever we took him? Who knows? But just by his power within the league, we were allowed, if we didn't get that meeting with him at another team, say, maybe you never take Kyle. But instead, you get him in front of you, and the rest was history.
And what I'm hearing from you, and this is not a surprise, is that having Jerry West was instant credibility across the board, that even though Memphis was an organization that had just moved from Vancouver and was certainly one of the bottom feeders before you guys put your magic touch on it and made it a 50-win team, that they garnered the respect that everybody else around the league did. And that was not because of Memphis, it was because of Jerry West.
1,000%, because what he kept it, again, I've told some people this, he would, when you'd stress out and get all worked up, he always told me that he felt guilty in some respects because he was able to make a living. This is on the road, this is in Europe eating dinners, this is when you're really having good private conversations. He just said he felt guilty being able to make money playing basketball when he had brilliant brothers and sisters who were, I think, a neurosurgeon or a physicist, or he had really smart siblings, and he always felt like, oh man, I'm doing this by just playing hoops. But he kept it at, it's just basketball. When we'd all get worked up and fired up and arguing about something, he'd be like, guys, it's just basketball, and you'd have to refocus. And he would, my point is, when he got to Memphis, he was like, this is what we do. Andy Dolish was knocking out of the park on the business side. We got to focus on, here's what we're getting. We got to build a team. It's basketball. That's what we're focused on. And that, again, that's his career. That's why he was a can he play or not guy, because we had Kyle Korver in one time for workouts, one of the best shooters ever in the league, in the history. And he was, afterwards, this is why we have workouts at Rhodes College. We didn't have the practice facility yet.
Mm.
And after his workout, I see him over there talking to Kyle. Now, he didn't talk to a lot of guys. He would talk to him, but he had him pulled aside for about 20 minutes after. So I finally walked over because I was in charge of making sure he got to the airport and everything. And he's showing him how to shoot it. And he was, and again, you guys can understand this. He would get annoyed sometimes because he was so good at something. He'd want you to be that good. And I think he saw in Kyle, he was explaining to him, I know you guys know how this works. Face up, heel toe spin, both feet pointed at the basket, shoot it. He was explaining to Kyle, catch it, and if you're even if you're sideways, just turn and shoot it because you're that good of a shooter. And Kyle's looking at him like, that's not even close to how I was taught growing up. So we got in the car, driving to the airport, and I had a great conversation with Kyle because he was like, that just made my whole process of this draft. I have Jerry West telling me to shoot it faster because it saves me a half second if I don't square up, which was amazing. And there's tons of those kinds of stories with that kind of a guy.
What was he like? Like, what was the relationship like away from basketball? Like, taking basketball out of it, just like in your, as you said, you're on trips, you're in your whatever, like just shooting the breeze. Like, what other things did you talk about? Like, if you got basketball out of the equation?
He loved coming in and just telling jokes. He loved any kind of like dad jokes and all those goofy ones.
Really?
But, yeah, he was just, and it was interesting because on Sundays he'd watch football. Every Monday morning, we'd come into I had a bigger office at the time, and so we could sit around and we would just chat about football. And he'd want to talk about every game that was on and what we saw and how violent the game had become in terms of hitting and his genuine concern, like, these guys are getting, they're getting bigger and faster. And this is before the CTE stuff really kind of became a thing. So every morning it was a conversation about football. And then the one time I'm in there working on some stuff, and I just remember he came in and he goes, "Hey, Tony, what size suit are you?" And I'm like, I don't know my numbers. I buy a suit off the rack. I don't have suits made or anything. I said, "Oh, I don't know." He said, "Try this jacket on." And I was like, "Okay," I tried it on. It was about a half inch too long in the arms. And he's like, "Well, that could fit. You could just have that hemmed." I said, "Oh, thank you very much." He gave me one of his custom-made jackets. Well, he comes in the next day. I asked all my buddies, I kid you not, he gave me at least 30 suits that were made for him that has his name in the inside of it. And he's like, "Karen's killing me because we're doing spring cleaning and I have to get rid of these. So these fit good enough for you. So just take them. And if you can get them altered, do the ones you want to get altered. But if not, give the other ones Goodwill." And he walked out. And I was like, I just got 30 suits, custom-made suits from Jerry. like what? And I still have them. To this day, I still have them. I wore one of them at a playoff game, and Craig Sager was doing the game. God rest his soul, too. He came up to me in the Lexus Lounge afterwards. We're going over the box score, and we had won. And he was doing the game, and he had one of his crazy jackets on. And somebody else happened to say to him, because everybody made fun of me because I wore his suit. I'm like, "I'm going to wear a suit every time. You kidding me?" And Craig said, "Oh, I'd love to trade with you the next game if you don't mind." I was like, "Oh, I'm in a bizarro world." To get a Craig Sager jacket and give him a Jerry West one, So it's little things like that where Jerry was always giving, and again, it's a cliche, but it's true. And he was always looking out for me. He got me this job here, so he was a great reference for me. I'd hit him every so often because he wasn't a guy who just loved getting on the phone because everybody wants something from him. But when he knew you didn't want anything, that was the key. When he knew you didn't want anything,
wow,
he could sit and talk with you for an hour.
Tony making Jerry West jacket trades with Craig Sager. I didn't have that on my bingo card. All right.
Neither did I.
I would have, if you would have given him to Goodwill, I can imagine somebody going into Goodwill and they're like, "Oh, this suit here." They open up like, Jerry West. What the heck
It
is
can't
this?
be the guy that. No, it can't be that guy. Tony, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you before we let you go about your father's relationship with Jerry when Jerry elevated him to interim head coach.
They were great. The reason those two got along is because my dad was the same way. They were just wanted. He used to. I have a picture of us. I could send it to you guys. They worked at camp when my dad was a coach at Duke, and Jerry came and spoke at it. So he had known him professionally, but when they really got in there and worked together, they just wanted to talk basketball. It wasn't anybody saying, "Oh, well, can we fill the arena?" This and that. So they really clicked that way. And again, I was not there. He was asked to coach if he would be interested in coaching prior to him actually becoming the coach. And my dad turned it down and said, he called me and said, they asked me if I'd want to coach. I told him no. And then they came back to him a second time and said, later on, and said, hey, we'd really like you to run the team. And my dad called me. And again, my dad was pretty intimidating too, but he said, I can't turn Jerry West down twice. So he's like, I got to take it. So it was great because the best times we had were when we did our overseas scouting because, again, you could sit around and have some wine and really see some good games. And Jerry and my dad were just instrumental, but I can't thank that guy enough, and he's going to be missed, obviously.
Yes. Tony, thank you so much for sharing those memories with us. It's great to catch up with you. Let's do it again here and not take so much long in between our conversations, but really appreciate you having come on the show today and giving us that insight that not a lot of people know.
Man, I miss you guys' show. I love you guys. You guys have always been great and really know the game, so I appreciate the time, too.
Hopefully I'll see you in Edwardsville soon.
You'll be there.
Thanks, Tony.
See you guys.
That's some great stuff. Some great stories that from both Andy Dolich and from Tony. Yeah, that's I can just Jerry West just here's 30 suits. Jerry West suits. Oh, yeah, I'd been saying that. I'm going to wear Jerry West suits.
Right.
Or Jerry West suits.
And that's why it goes back to that Showtime, which I enjoyed the series, but I'm like, there's no way. I mean, I know he was high-strung and wanted to win so badly, but they made him like maniacal. It made him like a caricature of himself. You didn't even see things like how giving he was to people and how much he cared about people that certainly were around him, and that was a perfect example right there.
Genesis Diamonds right now. What a great deal they've got going on this month. That's till the end of the month, June 30th. You could take advantage of it. This great offer is 5 years, zero interest financing. That's right, 5 years, zero interest financing. Father's Day coming up this weekend. You want to get something for dad, maybe one of those pre-owned Rolex watches, one of those beautiful watches. Well, you could do it. 5 years, zero interest financing right now at Genesis Diamonds. Thinking about getting engaged? Get that engagement ring. 5 years, zero interest financing. Whatever it is, anything that you get, any purchase that you make, you have the ability to put nothing down, spread those payments out over 5 years with no interest. That's right. $5,000 gift, that comes out to just $85 a month. It's an unbelievable offer, great opportunity right now to get that something special, that beautiful piece of jewelry at Genesis Diamonds. Poplar and Perkins Extended. You can get details and more at genesisdiamonds.com as well. But again, remember, this ends June 30th, so you got to take advantage of it now at Genesis Diamonds.
All right, we're coming right back to wrap it up. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Jason's Deli. When you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, vegan and gluten-free options available.
to your back. Jason's Deli, locations at Ridgeway and Park Place Center, Poplar Highway, Germantown Road in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Highland Ranch. Jason's Deli, it's wholesome food and no surprises.
Genesis Tires has the lowest interest rates on the planet because we never stop thinking about it. Zero interest financing on any purchase. Full tennis bracelets, 5-star rings starting at only $35 for a small here at Backbone Diamond Stud earrings, just $115 Don't spread your payments over 5 years. Zero interest. Independence bands, monographs, and jewelry and products, margins, nothing's held back. Now through June 30 only at Genesis Tires. Extend on Crew Credit. See store for details.
Hi, folks. Tom Burkham for Sunrise Buick GMC Truck. It's our 35th anniversary of Sunrise, and we're celebrating with savings that are bigger than ever. Over 600 new cars and trucks to choose from with huge savings. It's a used car buyer's dream. Check it out at sunrisememphis.com. Hundreds of used cars and trucks with a lot specializing in cars and trucks under $20,000. Bad credit, it's okay. You're approved at Sunrise. Remember, we specialize in secondary financing. New cars and trucks aren't free, but at least they're affordable at the 35th anniversary sale going on now at all Sunrise locations. Coming from Pike Boom Chase and Collierville.
It's the event you've been waiting for all year. The 66th Annual St. Louis Hole-in-One Charity Festival. Sunday, June 16th through Saturday, June 22nd. Golfers can win cash and prizes every night, along with a chance to win $25,000 towards a city auto vehicle purchase select nights. Then, a chance to win $1 million the final night. Plus, there are cornhole tournaments every night with cash and prizes. And there's more. Beer, Pepsi products, Prairie Farms ice cream, hamburgers, hot dogs, barbecue ribs, pizza, and even the famous Hole-in-One barbecue bologna sandwich. Friday and Saturday nights, there are kids' carnival rides, as well as children's golf Saturday 2 to 4. Golfers, grab your clubs. Cornholers, practice your aim. Families, bring the kids. In Memphis, there's something for everyone. You're invited to the biggest party of the year at St. Louis Church, 203 South White Station Road. The 66th Annual St. Louis Hole-in-One Charity Festival. Sunday through Saturday, June 16th through the 22nd. Fun, family, and fabulous prizes all week.
If you're on Twitter or what they call X now, you know that at the top of your page, the third tweet will always be an advertisement. It will always be. And I'm laughing at this one because the advertisement is the Atlanta Dream Experience is coming to State Farm Arena. The Atlanta Dream is a WNBA team. They normally play at the Gateway Center Arena, which is actually in College Park, Georgia. But they're moving to the State Farm Arena, which is the home of the Atlanta Hawks. Don't miss this awesome matchup between the Atlanta Dream and, you guessed it, the Indiana Fever. So then I look up, okay, is that game tonight? Yeah, it's tonight. It's the WNBA Commissioner's Cup. So the WNBA makes this game the Commissioner's Cup. They move it from a small arena.
Well, no, the Commissioner's Cup is it's like the in-season tournament for the NBA. They got a,
okay, gotcha. All right, stand corrected. But they moved the game from the Gateway Center to State Farm Arena. And then they advertise it, go see the Atlanta Dream Experience. No, what you're doing is you're advertising because they're playing Indiana and they're playing Caitlin Clark. That's why they moved it to an NBA arena, because they anticipate that type of crowd. I mean, so again, for everything with Caitlin Clark, and she's not the greatest player, she's not, but she's the most influential player they will ever see, and one of the most influential players in sports, period, over the last 25 years.
Brooks Koepka, Ludwig Oberg, and Matthew Pavone. I can't remember. I think that's another one.
Frenchman.
They switch all the time. Should ask Steve Sands if he ever asked him how to pronounce it. They're all at 3 under par. They are the early leaders at the U.S. Open. Patrick Cantlay, Russell Henley, Tony Finau, Eduardo Molinari, Willie Mack, all at 2 under par. Sergio Garcia, Ricky Fowler among a group at 1 under par. Tiger bogeyed 4 out of 5 holes. I think he's at 3 over now. I'm not sure what he did on his last hole, but They are currently on the front nine after playing the back nine first. Tiger and his group playing with Matthew Fitzpatrick and Will Zalator. Speaking of golf, you just heard the commercial. This Sunday, the St. Louis Church Hole-in-One Festival gets underway. It'll go all next week through Saturday the following week. And I got another couple of large buckets of balls that I'll give to somebody out there. 360-8255, 360-8255. Just be fast. Be the first caller. If you're fast enough to be the first caller, 2 large buckets of balls for the St. Louis Church Hole-in-One Festival. Again, gets underway on Sunday, runs all next week through Saturday. Caller number 1 at 360-8255 can get a couple of large buckets of balls to go have a bunch of fun out there at St. Louis Church. And who knows, maybe that large bucket of balls turns into a new car.
Fun show today. Great reminiscing with the people who really knew him well. Jerry West, as we thank Ron Tillery, Andy Dolich, and Tony Baroni Jr. for joining us, plus Kerry Miller. Tomorrow on the program, John Varlas will join us. We'll talk Ole Miss athletics with athletics director Keith Carter and star guard Matthew Morrell from the basketball team out at Ole Miss will be joining us on the program. At least he's scheduled to. We'll have 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. It all gets underway at 7 a.m. Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 is next for Eli Savoy and for Zach Boyd. I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great day, everybody.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous. A legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
East Memphis Ace Hardware is more than just a hardware store. It's really a customer service store with 20 employees along with complete inventory of items. They deliver. Finding what you need is easy. Choosing from a complete selection of Big Green Egg as well as Traeger and River grills. And the garden center has everything for your yard. You can get glass cut, repair screens, and your keys with key fob programming. Tools, nuts, bolts, screws. You need it. East Memphis Ace Hardware has it. And they're just down the street at the corner of Wilson White Station.
Celebrate Father's Day this year at Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, featuring the Callaway AI Smoke Woods and Irons. Now receive 2 times trade-in value towards any Callaway AI Smoke clubs. And from Bushnell, the new Tour V6 Series laser rangefinders provide you the most accurate distances in golf. Now $50 off. Shop with us this Father's Day in-store or online. Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf. Get there.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment, not just to protect their valuable tools, but to protect their professional reputations. For pros, the WeatherGuard badge makes a statement about what drives them. It says, "Bring it on. Been there. Done that. We've got your back," without saying a word. And the folks at WeatherGuard, they're just as driven as the hardworking pros they serve. See what it means to be driven at weatherguard.com.
Cork and Barrel in Hernando, Mississippi, a Southern gem for over 15 years. Check out their bigger, better, bolder new location, 2595 McInvale Road, Hernando. Huge selection, incredible pricing. Choose from hundreds of bourbons, tequilas, rum, scotch, and vodka. Over 1,000 wines from fine and very simple picnic wines. At Cork and Barrel, it's all about serving you. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 10, where the fun begins and the liquor and wine never end. Cork and Barrel, 2595 McInvale Road, I-55 Hernando exit 280.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby.